Talk about your grandfather.
Well, my grandfather was born in 1907, and he died in 2007. And I was the oldest of his 6 grandsons, so each one of us grabbed a handle on his casket. And he was amazing. He was a Christian zealot, right? Middle age, he comes to the Lord. He's running a profitable grocery store in St. James, Minnesota. And my mother was born and her brother was, so I think they had 2 children at the time. He sells everything and moves to Minneapolis because he wants to be more grounded in biblical study. And he goes to this little tiny Bible college called Northwestern Bible College back in the 40s, mid-40s. And Billy Graham is the president, young Billy Graham, who's 10 years younger than my grandfather.
Wow. How old was Billy Graham at the time?
Billy Graham would have been like in his early 20s. And that's where they launched the Billy Graham operation was originally in Minneapolis.
He had a radio station, and your grandfather was asked to do a program on that radio station. Talk about that and the fruits that came of that.
Well, my grandfather, after he left Northwestern Bible College, he got a job with Hennepin County, which is the big county that Minneapolis is in, and as a probation officer for the juvenile courts. And so when Billy Graham asked my grandfather to do a daily devotional, you're in radio, you know what it's like. You got to find some talented people to fill some airtime. So he asked Billy, he says, well, Billy, can I ask the radio audience to pray about accepting these troubled youth, these foster children into their homes? And Billy said, yeah, go ahead. So he concluded every devotional to ask the audience to consider bringing these children. I don't know how many hundreds of children ended up getting placed into Christian families because of my grandfather's obedience to doing what God asked him to do. My grandfather never missed the opportunity. Now I'm going off, but my grandfather never missed.
Tell me about the fishing trip, because that's a good story.
That's where I'm going. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So anyways, my best day of my life as a child, Grandpa comes to my school and he pulls my brother and I out of class. And says, I've come to get my grandsons. We're going fishing. So we go fishing, And I would suggest anybody to do that. Just take your, kids out of school one day, your grandkids, and have fun. But anyways, so we're on the road on our way to Leech Lake, Minnesota, and there's a hitchhiker. So my grandfather pulls over and brings this hitchhiker into the car, and he starts sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with the hitchhiker, and then we go up the road some more and we need some gasoline. So back then, we didn't put gas in our cars. They had people doing that for us. But back then they had an attendant and my grandfather sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with the attendant. And then he goes on and we stop to get bait. Same thing. He's sharing the good news. And I tug on my grandpa's sleeve. I said, Grandpa, are we ever going to get to fishing? He says, Stephen, I have been fishing. And that's just the way he was. He always carried Bible tracts in his pocket, and he was always sharing with the waitress, and he would go to the gym and sit in the hot tub. He says, yeah, that's the fishing pond.